I'm here with my friend Phil, and I asked him to make a record of my thoughts and feelings uh, at this point in time, and where I am living in a state of dread. To fear, in a great degree, to have terror, as of a burnt child dreads the fire. No, that's not that dread. In other words, you're scared because you were hit before. To look for, the child dreads the fire. Also, to regard or look forward to with apprehension of evil or pain, to feel great anxiety about as he dreads death. No, I don't dread death.
So what are you afraid of?
I'm living in a state of dread. I'm dreading that I might end up crippled physically, so that I need to be dependent on others for basic care, like, ending up in a nursing home, just and languishing. Let me start from, this all started about, in October of 2006, when I was out in Toledo and I started to feel short of breath. I didn't know what was going on. It turned out that I developed a cardiac arrhythmic disorder. It was going into congestive heart failure. And after that, I was in the hospital for a while. I got out, back in again for a short time. But I was able, and I didn't work for the month of November, December, January. I think I started going back to work again. So anyway, I continued my working retirement, so to speak. My this retirement was very active at the day treatment center, and I put in. I was putting in 5 hours a week, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and but then over time, it got increasingly more difficult to become active in this way, because I just found myself not being able to stay awake. It's been my problem. I can't. I want to sleep all the time, and it may have been related to the medications, because I was on a lot of medication at the time. But so it got to the point where I just couldn't stay awake enough to do to work at the day treatment center, and so I just quit. I had to stop July 1st, and since that time, it's continued, this tired feeling, sleeping. I don't know anybody to think that. It's right now, my present situation, I'm feeling pretty good today. This is unusual. And, but I'm just living in fear, dread of what? To become totally dependent. And I don't want to go on living like this. I dreamt I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Said I to Joe, you're 10 years dead. I haven't died, said he. I haven't died, said he. The copper bosses killed Joe. Come on from Sweden. Yeah, I'm a psychiatrist, but I'm a doctor first, a physician first. First, do no harm. It's my basic principle. Her tongue used to flick out and flick out and flick out because of the malarial, and she ulcerated the upper lip for years while she was in a state hospital. And for a year or so while she was here, she had an open ulcerous sore. I told them she was being treated by the state hospital doctors in family care. They wouldn't stop the malarial. I referred her to a dermatologist.
We gotta keep it going.
They put more salve on. I sent her to the Westchester County Medical Center. They biopsied the lesion. It turned out to be cancerous. And a year and a half or 2 years ago, she had her lip.
Good morning, baby.
She had an operation. They did a radical resection of the cancer and created a new upper lip, which is, you can barely see the lines of the scar. Right, Annie? How's that new lip working?
You see when I look at you?
Or working? How old? You're starting to develop a bigger lip, a nice lip with vermilion border and everything, right? Okay?
What do you think about what you did?
I think I was very helpful, man.
So what sort of reports do you get from Sullivan County now since you've been gone? I mean, people stay in touch with you?
They stay in touch. They call every week. They miss me. Sure, we're back. This place is not the same without you. You know, to leave and abandon my people down there, to have to leave, that was a painful thing. And they just, but you know, they'll get over. I had several meetings preparatory. You know, listen, you got to live on your own. You'll get over this. The nurses, they still, if your continued existence and feeling better is based on my being here, then I haven't done anything to help you. I like to feel that you have now picked up and you can go it on your own. I'm not going to be around forever. I thought I was very effective because the work that I was doing, I really believed in it. And then once you're drug-free for a couple of months, then you know you've been discharged from the state system. You're in a proprietary home, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, you got your Social Security. You can go wherever you want to live.
Oh my God.
Okay? All right then, Al. The other psychiatrists would come in and they would just come in and they'd sign all the prescriptions that the nurses filled out for them, you know, ahead of time. And then they would, you know, put in their 6 hours and 2 hours or whatever, you know, and they would skedaddle. And it was, but I ran 2 groups a week. And I also, I didn't schedule people at the day treatment center to come in and get their, my door was always open. There I was accessible. They could come and see me walking at any time, you know, to talk to me about anything. And then the groups, and sometimes when they come in with a problem they're having, I say, hey, that's very good, let's talk about it in group. Turn right in here. Let's all squeeze in here. Get in here close, Bob. Now listen, Al, you want to return to live where?
Participate in a home institution. Participate in where fellows where you can get married and live in a civil place.
You want to live in a civil?
Participate in civil, you know, home institution where you can live with a wife.
Oh, you want to get married?
Yeah.
And you want to live in your own apartment?
Yeah. Process.
Where are you living now?
I live now in a dove home where people are afflicted minded.
You're afflicted minded?
Where people are afflicted minded.
Afflicted minded?
Yeah.
Where do you live, Bob?
I live in Monticello Manor.
Okay, and what is that?
That is, Monticello Manor is an adult home in Monticello.
Uh-huh.
It is, Monticello Manor is on the, in the heart of Monticello.
What do you think about,
Monticello Manor is in the heart of Monticello.
what do you think?
It is.
Now,
He's a friend.
Before we.
no, what he's what?
Before.
Is he one of the afflicted?
Yeah.
You want to live with people that are afflicted?
No.
Okay, why not?
My mind's, I was baptized in Christ. I was baptized in church. I don't know no wicked-minded people.
See, the most effective tool in psychiatry, the most important tool you have, is that you are relating to another person, and vice versa. Listen, I got to tell you something about this being afflicted. Right? Yeah, right, that's it. Listen. Hey,
Well, instead of afflicting my people,
what do you got the hat up for? You're inside, you handsome guy like you. What?
They have a curse on themselves.
Who has a curse on themselves?
They have a curse on themselves with the devil.
You serious?
Yeah,
Hear that, Bob?
Yes.
He thinks you're cursed. He thinks that you're cursed.
Yes.
That the devil. You believe that? You don't know. He believes that there's spirits in the world. Right now?
Right, good spirit and a bad spirit.
Good spirits and bad spirits. Hey, there goes one right now.
Spirits are fighting the bad spirits.
What?
Good spirits fight the bad spirits.
Well, I got to tell you this. I have to tell you this. And I don't want you to think that I'm one of those godless individuals, okay? But as a scientist, right?
Yeah.
I did deal with like what you can taste, touch, see, feel, and hear. And sometimes when they come in with a problem they're having, I say, hey, that's very good, let's talk about it in group. Right, we'll bring it up in group, and you can present your problem to the group and get the group's opinion about what to do. All right. Do you think that Jane is afflicted?
What she needs to pray.
Right.
Pray.
I do pray.
But she don't live a clean
I do
life.
pray.
She doesn't live a clean life.
No.
You think that mental illness, so-called,
Yeah,
is the result of not living a clean life?
that's right.
What do you think? Anybody else got any opinions?
What do you mean exactly
That made
by
you
a
think
clean
so?
life? What do you mean exactly by a clean life?
And they would challenge each other in these groups. What do you mean you heard voices? Tell us more about it. What do you mean? What do you mean you think people are out to get you? How do you know who were born for heaven and who were born for hell? These things bother you about this discussion?
Yeah, no,
No, it's an important
it
discussion.
is. Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you this, you know, there are, I think there are more people out there that represent your point of view than represent mine.
What's the matter with that woman, Lorraine? She grabbed me by the neck.
You know, you are so wrapped up in your own delusions.
It's not a
You
delusion.
they are delusions, and you know,
Is
because
there delusions, doctor?
for God's sakes, Jane, you come in here every day with these outrageous stories that somebody raped you in your sleep. You had the state police going and investigating. You were so, look at you, you look like you could probably beat the lie detector.
Yeah.
And I know that do you really believe these things happen? Bob just said that he doesn't hear voices.
You
don't hear voices, do you,
Yes,
Bob?
I do too.
Don't let him convince you of something.
I think I hear voices.
You
Yes,
think you do,
I hear
yeah?
voices, sure.
But that when nobody's there?
Somebody's there to next door, but it's not, but
I
he's
see.
not.
Well, where are you going, Al? Well, you know something about you, Al? I'm going to tell you something about you. You don't like to discuss something, you just like to preach. Now stick around and let's listen to the man. And then I also take articles from the journal, make copies, JAMA, interesting things on politics, economics. We would discuss anything, history, hand out these handouts. and I had them read from it, go around the room. That treated them like they were students.
If you follow along with the pictures, right, the warm air from the ocean starts to rise. It hits the cold air, which forms thunderstorms. Now you have this massive area of ocean, right? And then you have massive cold air. And that's what starts the dynamics. Because hot and cold don't mix, right?
Got that right.
Winds reach 74 miles per hour and the storm is reclassified as a hurricane. Winds reach 74 miles per hour. They got to reach 74 miles per hour and the storm is reclassified as a hurricane.
I always looked at the people that were there, that everybody there could be a PhD candidate. I tried to enlarge their lives. Nobody to me was at a dead end, even the oldest of them. You had a horrible life. You're just tragedy. And the reason why you're rebelling against the reduced circumstances of your life is because you're probably smarter than I am, but you just didn't have the opportunity for education. You know that?
Gave me a test out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm able, I tell you, I know that you, as far as having up here brain, you know, you could have been a PhD. You could have, you got the ability. Did they ask you permission to operate? Do you remember the lobotomy operation? How did they do it? No, in your brain. They scalped you first? The first they took all your hair off. Oh yeah, she had one of the early ones because they did, and they opened up.
They opened up the cells. Then they sold them.
Because what they did later, and Charlie must have had an early one, and even
myself.
you feel the holes in your head too?
No, I have.
Because after a while, this guy used to do them. He used to go around in his car with his instruments, a big spike, and he used to give him shock treatments and knock him unsensible, and then he boom up through the orbital plate. Oh, it was a crude procedure, man.
I don't know.
All right, what do you think, Jimmy? I don't know, why did you end up in the state hospital, Jim? Sick? Who told you that? The doctor, and you believed him?
Who's?
What's it feel like to be told that you're sick in the mind? Did you like it? Made you feel awful, I bet. Strange. Jimmy, they said, Jim, how you doing? Okay? Jim, when he came here 2 years ago, was supposed to be vicious, assaultive, encopresis, which means incontinent feces, urine, and they didn't send him to family care, which is a higher level of care than a PPHA. They sent him to a PPHA because I guess they got the word you're going to get more people out. So they said, well, we'll send him down to Sullivan County and see what they do with this guy. When they sent Jimmy down here, Ruthie, tell you something about Jim Evans. He talked about malpractice. Jim came to us. You ready for this? When he came here in September of '85, he was taking Mellaril 200 milligrams at night, Dilantin 200 milligrams BID, phenobarbital 60 milligrams, 120 milligrams at night, Tegretol 600 milligrams a day, and another, I can't read it, he was taking folic acid to combat the effect of the Dilantin, 6 different, and Benadryl, 100 milligrams HS. You know what he's on now? Nothing. It took me a year, it took me almost 2 years to slowly, he's on nothing. Jimmy, how you feeling? Okay, he's talking, never talked.
How could he be an idiot when he was a doctor 27 years? How could he be an idiot?
Are you kidding?
No, I'm
You
not
never run- you
kidding.
never-
I'm not kidding.
You never ran into a doctor that you didn't think was an idiot?
No.
Have you ever run into doctors, Margaret, that you thought were idiots? How about you, Jim? None of the doctors are idiots. They're all, what do you mean by an idiot? Stupid? What? Religious.
I don't think it's religion.
When you mean idiot, you mean stupid?
No.
Ignorant?
No.
What do you mean?
Well, some people have good hearts, you know? And they have good hearts. God bless them, keeps them well. They say well of it. But some people die from them, you know?
Well, do you have a good heart?
No, I have no heart at all. So help me God, I don't. I
I've
don't
checked
care.
your heart and you have a
Daddy,
heart.
I don't have a heart.
Well, what's it mean when
I
you
have
say you
a
don't have
chest
a heart?
and a brain, but I have no heart. That doesn't mean that he's right because I'm right too. That has nothing to do
What?
with him at all.
You have no brain? This is like, hey, Jimmy, Charlie, you know what this is like? This is like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, the wizard. If I see a monkey, I
I
see
only
a
had
gorilla.
a brain, right? Then what would the Cowardly Lion want? Courage. What did the Tin Man want? A heart. What did the Straw Man want? A brain, right? And do you want courage?
Courage.
You need courage, right? That's what you've always lacked, courage. Wasn't your intelligence, right? And you always felt that you needed a brain? Well, you're one of the smartest people I've ever met. You may be smarter than me.
Did you go to school?
How would I know?
Yes, I went to
You went to school?
I went to St. Veronica's without the grammar school.
You changed, Mark. You used to be like.
How you been?
I'm friendly.
Yes.
You didn't like. You thought I wasn't friendly in the beginning.
Yes.
You know, she's beautiful, man. She wouldn't talk. She just changed. What made you change? What made you become friendly? Because you are.
Because I got well.
You got well. I'll be seeing a doctor next week to see what he can do about relieving this lethargy. I attempted to commit suicide about a month or so ago because I was put on this drug, Provigil, which it made me alert. You know, I was alert, but I just had this funny feeling, like it was alertness without any. It's hard to describe. You know, you could give it a word. You could say, well, you have somebody would label it as dysphoria, which really means fucked up feelings. And so I impulsively took this digitoxin, hoping that it would put me into some sort of lethal ventricular arrhythmia that would stop, my heart would stop. And all I ended up doing is getting sick to my stomach and puking and ending up in the hospital and being saved and put in. And now I'm on different medication, which is a lot more hazardous in many ways.
When you were in the hospital after the overdose and they sent the psychiatrist down, what did the psychiatrist ask you?
Well, he started out, with, I knew, for example, they told me he was coming, and I knew the reason why they were sending the psychiatrist down is because they didn't want to discharge me without being cleared by a psychiatrist because they would be liable for malpractice, or people would sue and say, why didn't you have a psychiatrist examine this guy before you let him out? And I knew that here I am now in deeper trouble, because I'm in danger of being committed, you know, to the psychiatric unit. And so when he came in and I just presented I didn't want to appear too happy or too like I was going into a flight into health to avoid being. I looked at him and I said, yeah, I guess you're here. You know, what I did was stupid. It was very impulsive. And I took this medication, this Provigil, made me feel very weird. And he said, well, he was saying, well, maybe you didn't prepare for your retirement. Okay? I said, well, I plan on going and doing some volunteer work at a day treatment center, because I always enjoyed that. And then I plan on visiting friends I haven't seen, staying with a friend of mine down in the city and doing things down there. And also, and I'm going to plan to get down to Florida for the winter time, because I don't think I can take the cold weather. And then basically, he came back a second time, and I was consistent in my story, and I told him, and I'm feeling a lot better since physically, and I'm not taking any more of that Provigil. That was a bad scene. My thinking at the time was, I don't want to commit suicide. I'd like to just get out of this. I would like to die, but I don't want the stigma, being committed suicide to haunt my relatives, especially my grandchildren, because people get funny about. But I've known this in my clinical practice. They get mystical about. Everyone goes through periods of depression and not feeling good, and then they had suicidal ideas, and then they say, "Oh well, I have an uncle that committed suicide, or a grandfather." Like there's this myth that there is a biogenetic or contribution that may be inherited, but actually it's not, but it is. It's not biological. You don't inherit a gene or something like that makes you prone to suicide.
But you said you started out as a biological-oriented person.
Way back, man, when I was doing medicine, I went to residency back into psychiatry the first time. Remember that? That's when I got out of my practice, and I went up to go into psychiatry. As far as I was concerned, mental illness was was the product of some biological change. With any other disease. And I remember, you probably forgot this, but one of the first things that happened when I went back into the residency the second time was I had this proposal that I gave to Dr. Holt. It was a study to examine the spinal fluids of patients before and after electroshock therapy to see if there's any change in the chemical. There's certain chemical compounds, amino acids or whatever. Okay, and then it was after I read Zaz and I looked at this thing and said, this is crazy.
The premise of my work has always been that there is no mental illness, and there is no treatment. What is called treatment, this is where this whole terminological deception comes in. After all, what did Freud, what did Jung do, what did these people do? They listen to people and they talk to them. Now my contention is that all mental illnesses are the names of behaviors that someone doesn't like.
They did that in Russia. They had a condition called politically deviant schizophrenia. In other words, if you didn't agree with the government's prescribed attitudes and beliefs, then you were, they called it sluggish schizophrenia.
Sluggish group.
Something like that.
Now let me say something about the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, because you all know about mental diseases. Well, these are simply medical sounding labels. These are, if I can use very ordinary terms, professional lies.
Thorazine. Thorazine came out, you know, back when it first came out. We used it up at in the 50s, early 50s, and it was used in the hospital. People came in acutely agitated states, but nobody ever went home on it. We used to give high doses of it, but nobody ever went home on it. Then later, they had this symposium. Smith, Klein, and French sponsored it. They were the ones that had the patent on that. And in this thing came this concept that Thorazine is treating some biochemical deficiency, much like people who have gout or where they have to take drugs to prevent recurrences, and so they introduced the concept of maintenance therapy as far as an outpatient basis, and from there they elaborated this notion of you have a biochemical deficit that Thorazine replaces. It's now mental illness became a biochemical lesion, and which is nothing but pure. It's not even a myth. It later became a myth.
I don't know who you truly are. Who are you?
Well, you know my name.
Well, is that your real name?
Well, yeah, I guess so. It's the only one I ever knew I had. Dr. DeSole. Do you doubt that?
I don't know.
Well, what's his name anyway? I mean, what's your name?
Mine's just Annie.
Annie.
Yeah, but I was from the third world kingdom where children don't die. And a lot of them kept pets for years and years and years.
Uh-huh. You know, yesterday, I was trying to convince the people there at the meeting that you didn't need medication, and because I had never, in all the time I've known you, saw anything in your behavior that made me think you had a psychotic disorder or schizophrenia.
That's what they say. But, you know, today, you sure do act like you got a problem with expressing yourself
Well, the
in
fortune.
a logical way.
I had this unreal fortune stolen from me in '75.
An unreal fortune.
Yeah, it's called a 35-piece magnetic plate, about 4 inches by 4 inches.
Uh-huh.
I know.
Okay. All right. And that was stolen from you when?
In '75.
75? Can
Yeah.
you tell me about that? I mean, where under what circumstances?
It was under the farm animal kingdom.
Which is located where?
But it's a world down below New York City, or the New York world of Bonanno. Bonanno was the true owner of 35 worlds of New York.
Isn't he a guy that's in the mafia or something? Bonanno?
Yeah, he also dies for real too out there in the corner as a little farmer to the Chicago Colored Kingdom.
I had a principle that if it can be simulated, it's suspect. If you can simulate, like a seizure. I mean, I've seen people take seizures that look so genuine, man, right? And I had people that either, if you can simulate, it's suspect.
Well, I got to medically doctor myself to go back to the world I did come from.
Which is where?
So if I don't have my sister's support, which I never needed till this doctor took a mattress out of me, a slice of bologna, a catalytic converter. You know, he had to dissect this kid and then put it in layman's term in '75.
What I don't know.
I laid on a special bed in Utica in the Queen's
I don't know
morgue
how people do
of
this.
Johnson Brownie, and the Brazilian morgue, and let's see, and there was 35 people there, and the Super 8 luxury Israeli hotel.
Wait, don't get scared. I can actually, Esther, I can simulate this. You know, I'm not good at it. I've been talking what they call like busting up logical chains of thought and just picking out images and little parts of things and putting them together. It's like what do they call those things? It's a collage.
And my father told me they had big termites they used to raise, and actually bring the shoes to them. You know, termites.
Bring the shoes to the termites.
Yeah, and little spiders come and all this, and venom from a snake, and hoping they would die from the venom, and then they feel hot and feverish like I do now. And it's a snake bite, I don't know, and the stupid jerks getting the same thing.
What I'm trying to tell you is that I wish you'd try to, stop talking nonsense, because it's not understandable. And we're making an honest effort to try to help you. Other than, I'll tell you the truth right now.
Well, I have an awful lot of dead parents, and
But that doesn't
I told them in '75.
That statement
in
right there.
1975, I told all these people that I was going to be retarded and talking to a lot of my childhood friends.
Yeah. But why would you want to be retarded and talking to a lot of your childhood friends?
Because we got the world is going around yet, and all new theaters take their place or whatever.
All new what?
Theaters, players, whatever. They even
Theaters.
have bar rooms called players. So, and theaters, Kings, whatever. And I told them honestly,
You know what you're
I was
doing?
going to
I'm gonna
talk
tell you
to a lot
something
of
you're doing.
childhood friends.
Let me tell you what the upshot of your behavior is. And they're going to lock you up.
Who's going to lock me up?
The authorities.
What authority?
They're going to have,
Under what name?
I can listen. Right now, I can draw a couple of pieces of paper and I can call the state police and they can whisk you away to Middletown right now.
Why? I'm not under psychiatric care.
Yes, you are. I'm a psychiatrist.
Why are they going to lock me up? I've done no bodily harm.
Well, because the way they were talking yesterday, they think that you're dangerous.
I know I've no bodily harm to anybody.
I know you haven't. But they think that maybe, they got us all scared, like you're going to harm your sister's kids.
My sister doesn't feel that way.
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe we ought to get her here. I hate to get third-hand information from people that aren't even directly related to you. Who is your advocate, anyway?
Thelma.
Thelma, yeah.
What the hell is an advocate?
somebody that works with you
Friends.
to help you.
They're friends.
They do the little things
Most
that you
of it,
need to
yeah.
do,
Yeah.
telephone calls, letters, see that you see
Well,
the
she never
doctor.
offered any of those responses to me. She
Well, you
just
get
keeps-
them here if you behave yourself
Well,
and calm down and
maybe-
decide if you're going to stop the shit that you're doing and then behave and you're
Well,
going to come
Ann,
here.
maybe Ann is right. Maybe she wasn't really being helped by Thelma. You know, maybe Ann's got a point there, because the way I get it, seems like Thelma is acting...
She's taking me to all kinds of doctors and all kinds of
Well,
things.
yeah, because your teeth, you had to get your teeth taken care of, absolutely.
I got a dentist appointment on the 3rd through
Well-
Orange County.
Well, yeah, it's not easy to get a dentist if you're on Medicaid. But the way you were talking, they told me that you wanted all your teeth removed, whether they were good, bad, or whatever. But I didn't get that from you talking to you today.
I don't remove all my teeth, I'm just gonna remove a few of them.
That are,
They're rotten.
okay, all right. Makes sense.
And Thelma never says that's what kind of advocate she is to me.
Well, she's really the case manager. She isn't like Annie, my advocate.
She just keeps trying to throw me out on the street and telling me this is what my sister said, this is what my sister says. And I talked to Mary at home and she doesn't say any of those things.
Well, remember we had the 5-year celebration?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yep. We're just having a meeting trying to help Ann. The way you behave, you know, provokes feelings that, but most people, they just don't want to bother with it. You pissed them off. You're angry. I mean, you know, you're really hostile. You know what that means, hostile? Hostile is like you just got a lot of anger. And you're dumping it on people.
What do
that
you mean I piss these people off? They're throwing me into the show with the Doors in New Jersey and all this other shit. These comedian worlds.
Now you're really being angry. Now you're
I was
getting
talking to a man named John Edmond from Chicago. He's
Right.
under a Camille name of Michael McKean from New Jersey.
That what she means by that is that
And he
Camille
was
is
out
a
of big Chicago.
chameleon, and he
And
is
this
hiding
spaceroid is trying to kill him.
like a chameleon hides under a pseudonym. But it's all like stuff that's supposed to put you off your mettle. You know, like you wonder, you go like this. You know, like you're bamboozled. What you're doing is all that talk bamboozles people.
What's that mean?
Well, what does bamboozle mean? You just try to confuse
Push
people.
around, throw your weight.
Yeah. You know, you're a bamboozler is what you are. Do you think it would help if we got together with your sister and talked it out? And you can tell her what you wanted, and maybe this isn't what you really want. Maybe it's not, you know, it's no good forcing relationships.
No?
Okay? And, you know, if you want to go to
I
court...
asked her if she was bothered. She sat down with me just the other day and she says to me, I says, your daughter's moving back home. She had 5 children. She says, yes. Then I says, am I going to be in the way or a bother to you? And she says, no, you keep your room. Kimmy can just share her bed.
Oh, her daughter's moving back with...
Yeah. She has a lot of marital problems with her husband and his children.
Yeah. But she was still willing to help you out and take you in.
Yes.
Well,
So,
that's...
she just told me, you just go there, I guess, and give you something to do during the day. But
All right.
she never says I'm forced to go there either.
I don't find anything that medication is going to help. I mean, you know, you're perfectly sensible and reasonable when you want to be. I think that's pretty good. The way you talked to Thelma showed a good deal of common sense, man. And insight into what was going on. She was talking to your sister without telling you the whole truth. She was believing things that your sister had told her without, you know, verifying it first. Were you going to talk it over with your sister then?
Okay, and just tell her to
And then
call us
get back to
tomorrow
us.
if she wants to talk to
That
us.
makes sense.
Well, not tomorrow, because we're closed tomorrow.
Yeah, but...
Tell her to call on Monday. That way she can speak to the doctor, okay?
All right, Monday.
Yeah.
If you go back yesterday, they had this meeting, okay? And the way you were portrayed, Annie, is like you or like what they use.
I'm just going to talk to my sister.
No, listen to me. I'm just doing a post-mortem. This is very interesting what happened. They called me into the meeting.
This is all that
Well,
Pennsylvania.
they called me into the meeting and they said, Doctor, one of the staff members said, what the hell are we hiring you here for if you don't prescribe pills and medication?
Oh, that again.
Got that, Bonnie?
Does it have to do with the pink
Bonnie,
Cadillac Charlie
No,
Brown?
we have to be smart about these.
They said, no.
Pink
They said,
Cadillac
just because
Charlie
somebody
Brown?
acts a funny way,
Yeah.
that they're psychotic, they need to get stomped on chemical restraints. Boom. So I was very resistive about giving me medication because I didn't observe anything that I thought. I first of all, I said that I don't think you're psychotic, and I don't find you have any mental illness, and I don't think that I should treat somebody for a mental illness that I didn't believe they had. They went crazy. Well, you mean you're not psychotic? I said, no, but.
Since you're in with it, you're not in
I
with
said,
it,
I'll
sure.
talk to Ann tomorrow. So we talked. And I think what's happened is pretty good. We're going to find out, get to the bottom of what's going on, right? Your sister apparently has not been, there's been a lot of confusion in the messages. And it's very clear to me that you don't trust, no. Because she's not being straight with you. Yeah. The next goal you want is you want to remove the other stigmatizing thing, which is taking medication.
I want to get rid of that.
Yeah, because then you figure if I don't need medication, I'm all right.
Yeah. The doctor won't let, you won't let me get off medication.
Oh yeah, you're going to get off it this year.
This year? Okay.
You bet.
Doctor, I've been here 10 years and I've been on different medications, and I don't see why I'm on medications except that when I get angry, I go to pieces. I just scream out what I want.
You know what happens?
Otherwise, I'm normal.
You know what happens with you? You've been on it so long that it's affected your body in some way, and I noticed that whenever I get down to a certain level taking you off, you begin to get like feelings in your chest like you're having a heart attack, and they're real to you. And you get scared, you know? But we're getting you down slowly. It takes a long time to get off that stuff.
And what was the basis for my practice down there? Get the physical body restored to the best shape you can, and then try to get people off these so-called tranquilizers, constantly trying to get everybody off all these antidepressants and stultifying, tranquilizing drugs, and then without boasting, I have to tell you, I did a pretty good job getting people off some of this stuff completely, and they did much better. She got out of the hospital, and you were taking 3 different pills, right?
Right.
And she's taking this one psychotropic drug, and she used to have this feeling. It made her feel funny on the inside, like everything was like rubbery. It's hard to describe. You remember that?
I do.
And we stopped the medication. Basically, this is one of these, you know, feeling states that the drugs induce. And they called it a delusion. Just because she's speaking metaphorically. Remember we stopped
quite
it?
a while ago,
yeah. And that cured this this feeling state. Right? And now she's just taking stuff for high blood pressure. And how much Valium about?
Only 2 milligrams.
2 milligrams. We're just taking her off it. And she works here, employed, right?
I don't take any Valium at night now, and I only sleep 9 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's terrific.
Really lucky, very lucky.
I try to get people off these so-called tranquilizers, and then try to get them to come alive. And then when they did come alive, depending on their age and background and their skills, their IQ, see if we get maxed them out in terms of increasing their potential. Oh, yes, Pat. She's supposed to have schizophrenia. All right, she was on all these drugs. Got her off the drugs. Then got her into the 2-year community college. And she completed that, and now she's working as an assistant social worker for this RSS outfit. We used to get applications because we did move some people along for openings. And the first thing I would look at to see if we could get people that would improve is if there was room for improvement by coming to our place, was how much medication they were on. The more medication they were on, that's the one we take. Because I knew that they're going to, because we got them off the meds, they're going to improve. Stop the poison, slowly.
And one of the important things that you'll see in Dr. DeSole's tape, he doesn't just take people off. He spends years with people, years, slowly tapering them. It's a very big difference than saying, all right, we'll go from 200 to 0, we'll go 200 to 50. That'll shock anybody back into a psychosis. But Dr. DeSole has, with an open clinic, has an intimate idea of each patient that he treats. And from what we see, he has a very good handle on lowering dosages on the long term.
All I was trying to do down there is be scientific in my attitude about the medications and also try to rehabilitate. They weren't interested in these poor souls. I guess they didn't want these individuals to come alive. That's what it was. They just wanted to continue on. They were like the cottage industry now. That's where I learned. I should have taken a course in economics when I was in college, because these proprietary homes would take anybody in. They didn't care. They'd come up because there was no place that would take some of these people, but they would take them. Why? Because, at least they'd be there maybe 3 or 4 months, they'd get 3 or 4 checks. Once they meet their costs or expenses with, say, 15 patients, then every one after that is 100% profit. That's business, right? And so that's why they hung on to them and kept them there, and they would not need to drug them up, so they would stay, load them up with medications and turn them into zombies, even if they're dangerous. I said, I don't do that. I don't do that. In the beginning, the Friends and Advocates of Mental Illness started to form. I got very active in what's called the Friends and Advocates of the Mentally Ill in the beginning. And then, they had a lot of support from them because they liked my attitudes. They had sons and daughters that were being treated and stuff. But later on, they became co-opted by the psychiatric establishment. And once they got a little power, one of the big issues at the time, after a few years, was they wanted, the state offered them money to have a representative. I said, don't take any money. Don't get involved in the delivery of services. You're advocates. Don't take any money from the state, in order to set up an office in Albany to coordinate, because then you're beholden to them. If you're going to be advocates, you got to be on the outside. Anyway, by the time that they were no longer supportive, I felt that they were hopeless. And then there were some of the individual parents, their only interest in it was understandable, getting better care for their kids. But the big battle there was, and it was a continuing thing right on up until the time I left, was Dr. DeSole takes people off their medications. As if I were taking people off Coumadin, which is going to prevent heart attacks. See, right now, I want to go to sleep. And even though we took a long walk, I just would like to, and And then I have to take this Coumadin, which may be responsible for it. I hope I have to see the neurologist as soon as I get an appointment this week. But if I stop taking it, there's a chance that, you know, I would get a stroke. I would get a ventricular arrhythmia. And rather than that, and just get further disabled with a stroke rather than die.
How much Coumadin do you take a day?
Well, I take 5 milligrams. Now I'm supposed to increase it. This is the only drug they can consistently, every day, since I had the heart attack out there. All the others have changed from some to none to different ones, but this has been consistent. I'm just wondering, could this be what it is? Because that's the only consistent thing I've taken. The only consistent thing. Coumadin. All right, I can, no, but the lethargy. See, fatigue, lethargy. Yes, it's just a one of the adverse reactions.
Is lethargy.
Lethargy.
Okay, well that's significant. Clearly, it states lethargy.
You know. Yeah, but it could be it, and there's no way I can get away from
taking
not
it.
Taking it.
You can't.
No way.
Aspirin is not a substitute.
No, man. No. I don't want to go in there and tell this guy his business. I just tell him, you know, that I noticed about this syndrome. I just say, in the history, it seems the only drug I've taken consistently since this has been this Coumadin. You know, and I don't. And then I'm not going to say, and I looked it up in a PDR, and I thought, you know.
Why not?
Because doctors don't like that. You know that. Now, is he, in his experience, has he ever treated a patient that had lethargy as a result of?
Okay, so would you wouldn't ask that question?
No, I mean, I'd say, you know, the name is it's not one of the common side effects. It's listed, you know, but it's been reported.
All right, with Progil, one common side effect is psychosis.
Hasn't been out long, man.
Okay, but you know, so the fact that I mean, there's individual biological
You
modification.
bet there is individual things. Jesus, I used to call them idiosyncratic.
I mean, I think this is the biggest clue that you've come up with.
Listen, Ross is here.
Yeah.
Do you know a guy named Friend?
Friend?
Harold Friend? They want me to commit him.
I don't know.
What should I do?
Who is he?
I don't know. You want to take a look at him with me?
Where is he? Here?
Yeah, he's here.
So I'll look at him.
See if we decide whether he should go to state hospital or not.
What'd he do?
I don't know. We'll find out. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's go. You want to come?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see if this guy needs to go to the hospital. Come on, Phil.
What you know about me from standpoint of a clinical and individual therapeutic ability is in no reflection of any truth. See?
You follow him?
See?
Listen,
he knows more than you. He knows.
Watch, I got him. You know, Steve?
I'm telling you.
You know?
He knows, and he knows more than you. He knows. See, if you're going to set yourself up as a god, right? Or now you don't even do that, right? Now you don't even do that. Right? If you're going to say you're doing a job, right? Now you're going to do your job, or you're not going to do your job.
You want a cup of coffee?
I just from that in the box.
Harold, you want a cup of coffee if I can get you one?
Okay. I'm a lady.
You got your coffee? I'll tell him. Wait, Steve.
Back to the.
But if you get down there, I will. Wait a second. I'll call down here and tell them to give you a cup of coffee. Get to Harold, because being a patient, you know, they might get a little upset, right? That's what you're right. Hey, we're gonna call a spade, right?
Oh, a spade already, Dan.
Okay. We don't, what the hell is this? Okay. Because I know I don't want them to give you any hassle.
No, I was gonna get him from the front room there. Hand you down.
Okay, get him coffee from the front room. Hey,
well,
okay,
I know you mean well, but the fact
how do you
is,
know that? How do you know that I'm not an agent of the establishment and that my job isn't to stamp out society's deviance?
Do you remember this, the movie, the Underground movie? I'm not involved with any type of illegal or like bad thing, but I'm more of a student. I'm an innocent, idealistic kid. I'm an innocent, idealistic student, right? I'm getting back to the situation that I was doing my studies, and creating myself, and that was pushing my mind, and like an actor, I was athletes, you know, they were going on straying and studying and reading heavy books and creating and writing and thinking and clearing up my problems in a lot of ways. And then I guess bringing myself and I walked in the street.
Yeah.
Some jackass, some schmuck over the mall, and I got my pistol.
And what did you do?
Shithead. I pissed this all the shitheads.
Ross, why is he here?
Okay, what's been happening is that Harold seems to be going through cycles. Cycles being that there are moments when he's very good, stabilized, he's reasonably compliant, attentive to his basic needs. We get to a point where he becomes erratic in his medication, right? Sometimes you feel you shouldn't take it. There's envelopes in the room. The room is becoming to the point where it's unsanitary and unsafe. He's not able or unwilling to take care of his personal hygiene. Issues in the community are as follows, right? You've had some real problems with the landlady there, who you call the Nazi Jew lady, right?
Now look, now I'll give my side of the story. I'll give a reply to that.
He's being evicted again. It's the third time in 5 months. His cousin called me this morning, right, from New York City, from Long Island. Very, very concerned because he calls her frequently collect, and of course she's known him all her life, and want to know why we still have him in the community, because her talking to him for years and years and years and growing up with him said that his speaking on the telephone to her is far more bizarre than usual.
She thinks she's crazy.
Isn't that true, you know?
Okay.
If a saint kicked animals, they killed them, right? Right? And God came to the whole world, to the universe,
he's walking
down to a whole world of dinosaurs. You know, they weren't up.
God came.
Isn't that true?
God came down.
No, okay, it's the figure of. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's the grand. I'm saying everything that builds up that even you could benefit from. You could benefit because you're in a sense like me, being a social worker and humanistic type thing. And you know what? These goody two-shit, real scumbags. They're the real enemy. They're a real fucking enemy. These goody two-shoes were the biggest scumbags in the world, the biggest hypocrites, you know, the Reagans, you know, the lily white shitheads. They're the perfect God. They want everybody to smell their feet and they want to carry them around, you know. There's nobody's like that, you know. Anybody with common sense knows that, you know. Anybody with common sense knows that, you know. Look, he deluded himself thinking he was a big man. Reagan, the Reagans, you know, shit like that. We shall overcome. Or as Stokely Carmichael would say, we shall overrun.
Well, you gotta listen, you know, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah, prick, yeah, some schmuck.
I'm trying to figure out.
I saw a schmuck that picked a nice, dark, blonde, a nice, sweet, dark,
see Al,
blonde.
wait, let me say something.
I never heard anybody.
You want to listen to something? You see Al, today, it isn't like when you got involved with the system in 1946. They sent you away, they threw away the key, they figured you were a hopeless case, and you spent the next 30 years.
He's more like me than anybody else.
No, let me.
He's more real.
Well, yes,
he's got more of a human being than any one of you.
Well, that's why he's here because
he's been doing. You're cream puffs. You're hypocrites. And Jehovah God knows that. And no matter what you do to me, I I have been witness to, and I'm a backed up list member of those people, okay? So no matter what you and the fucking Reagans and shitheads, and what, no matter what hate game, and when you fuck me up, you're fucking Joe God, and I'm like, I'll people up, and you have to answer that to yourself, okay? And what you're doing to me.
But you know I got the power. Well, you know that, Harold.
What kind of power does anybody have?
I got the power. I can write out a piece of paper and have the police pick you up. I got the power of a judge, man. I can deprive you of your civil liberties with the stroke of a pen.
It's a very grandiose thing to be a psychiatrist. You got a human being there, and they come to you, and then you know they're troubled.
You and your hate game, you're an agent, and smell the salt, CIA, what they did to Mr. Kennedy, and then put every other person in
I know something.
Smell the salt in your game. So play your game, and your destiny and see you, what? You have your witness.
Tell you something.
You have every chance, fucker.
You're
a perfume peculiarly pathetic. You're making witnesses and reports and innuendos about me, and you're smelling the salt to the rich people. That's gonna get you riches.
I don't want him going around this place doing that.
I like to be fucked up. I'm not an animal. Hey, fuck up this guy.
What? Come on in, George. What are you doing this for? Bobby, you know George? Harold. Why do I keep calling you George, Harold?
Look, I've never been at the. That's it. I'm an individual that in order to achieve something or just do something that I like how to be expected, okay?
Okay.
I'm not. Don't fucking don't give nobody intellectual bullshit. This guy there, the cream puff, intellectual quit. We don't like them. Those fucking guys, nobody's gonna stand for that shit. Life is serious, right? If you're gonna do a job, you're gonna do it right, okay? Now I don't want to deal with you. I'm something like a club. I'm a master clairvoyant, okay? I know all the games and all this shit.
Is he unreasonable?
Yes.
Okay, that means he's insane.
It means that he has a right to.
I don't care what you say.
As long as the societal norms, whatever they are for the community.
Oh, listen, there's no doubt about what I'm going to do here, Harold. George, Harold. Okay. He needs a rest. He said he needed a rest.
I need to rest.
And we'll get the papers.
But I'm not going to the hospital.
Well, Harold, where are you going to rest?
He's being evicted from his current room.
Well, you know, it's either jail or the hospital. That's all. I mean, let's not
I don't care.
Wait. It's jail or the hospital. Now, if he goes to jail, he's going to end up in the hospital anyway.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. So why do we have to have him suffer the indignities of going to jail? Let's forget all the bullshit, all the DSM-3R, all the diagnoses, all the this and that, whatever. Let's just say that right now.
What are the others going to happen?
Right now, he's going to. And what do you mean racing? And to get this rest that he wants, look, he's going to NBC. There's no question about it because he is forcing me to send him there, and I don't mind doing it. Harold, are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. If you were put in the driving pressures that I've been in, that were malicious, and that were people like today, you know the world situation today, that I'm not so much authority figure, I'm a human being like anybody else on the spot, and a beautiful you. This man is more beautiful, and you're beautiful. But I was a driving pressure. I'm an intellectual man. I'm to be different doesn't mean anything.
Come on in, Roberta, yeah. What's this, Roberta?
Hi, Roberta.
Sit down. It's beautiful, isn't it?
What?
I'm not eating.
Okay.
Roberta, we're gonna get silverware. Steve?
I ate him in.
Harold's
Bob?
Yeah.
Harold gets 2.
What are we having today? What is
I'll
this?
get the silver.
Cold plate.
Oh, cold plate. Do not go gently into that.
Have you noticed? Did you notice how tactics have changed from 1980 to 1979, when Carter's last year to 19? You notice that how how the variances in this country?
How did you notice it? In what way?
The fact that the decadence of the 80s, the 79 to 89 period. Look, I gotta get that. Reagan, you know, do you know what Reagan put his cards on the table, you know? Reagan would never be the type of guy to do anything. Reagan was the type of guy, he wanted everything and everything in the room. He ended up in a Nazi cemetery. He wanted to be buried in a Nazi cemetery. In Pittsburgh.
You know, he once told me that when you want to figure out what's more important in any culture in terms of who eats with who, not even who is screwing with who. Right? Who eats with who. When you get ready to observe them. And that was a big part of the program, the meals. And when we had it down at Highland House in the beginning, we used to staff, everybody was twice a week, we had a full course dinner, and we served the patients, clients, patients, right? At the table, like waiters and waitresses. And then I was always constantly trying to get the staff, don't sit together, sit with them. And then finally, you get such a big population there, it got bigger and bigger. We had it cafeteria style. They'd have to come by and pick it up, right, and then go to their tables. And then I would observe their behavior in line, waiting, who deferred to another, how they treated each other while waiting in line, and whether they were courteous, whether they were respectful to the older people, whether they were pushing or fighting, whether they took umbrage if somebody got in front of them, and then who they sat with when they ate, how long they stayed at the table talking after the meals, or they just go there and also that was the meals and observing the mealtime, you know, all these different life activities.
So I think we got it all. That much I do know. Remember the song about Joe Hill? No. I dreamt I saw Joe Hill last night, alive as you and me. Said I to Joe, you're 10 years dead. I haven't died, said he. I haven't died, said he. Copper bosses killed Joe. Come over from Sweden, looking for someone. And the Statue of Liberty waved goodbye. Joe comes sailing through Joe Hill. Joe comes sailing through. In Salt Lake City, a murder was made. There was hardly clue to find. What a memory. Oh, Jim was pulled, but the sheriff was sure that Joe was killer of crime. That Joe was killer of crime. Joe raised his hand when they shot him down. He had nothing but kill to give. It's the doctor I need, but let him to me. But they made it cause he had will to live. Yes, he made it cause he had will to live. Even President Wilson held up today. Even he would fail. But nobody heard of those soul-searching words of the soul in Salt Lake City down. Of soul in Salt Lake City. What a memory. To be. I should have a bed here. Why? That's what I'm telling you. We should have a bed here. Give him a little rest for a couple of weeks. We should. This place should be manned 24 hours a day, with a couple of beds out there. We would never have to send anybody to a state hospital. Has there been any? I think I need help. Okay, all right. But I don't want to go there. But I think I'd like to stay here. Come here. Well, when you get out, you come here. Good. Bob says go for the rest. I think I better. King of the Jews. But then do you want to continue to take that medication or want to get off it? Because I'll make a recommendation.
I take it like
Harold,
this.
we're going now.
this side.
Jehovah will deliver us to the new world.
This side. Step on the floor back there. Go on this side, get in. Step on the floor. Come over to this side. Step on the floor.
All right, Ross. I mean, calling you Ross, Frankie.
Talk to me.
Can you get me a computer? Get you a copy? I told you I was going to get you one. Let's go get a form for you to sign. They have them inside. And I'll take them.
And I want to go to, what do you call it?
I got you.
Those that are crazy are normal. Those that are normal are crazy.
You came in this morning with a request that Dr. DeSole signed the one psychiatrist commitment paper. And then there was about 2.5 hours of a very unusual intake. From a professional point of view, how do you feel about that?
Well, the two things are going on in my mind. One is I know Dr. DeSole's style. I work with clients. I'm comfortable with that. You know, at times I find it very non-traditional, if you want to call it that. But yet, I find that he has an ability to work very successfully and have a good rapport with the very difficult to manage and deal with clients, okay? Because of the latitudes and parameters he permits them in expressing themselves, and his willingness to hear what they're saying, rather than just look at the symptoms and write a diagnosis and ship them off somewhere, okay? The other part of me is struggling with the fact that, not that his time's not invaluable, but I have a lot of expectations on my job role. And that basically I spent the entire day on this one specific case. There were a number of other appointments that clients of mine had expectations of me today that I could not fulfill. And this process took basically my entire workday today.
Do you think it was it a useful therapeutic process, or you feel it didn't make any difference?
I think it was therapeutic for the client. For me, actually, it was enjoyable because it was very different from what's usual. You know, as I said, part of me was very comfortable and fine to let this process unfold as it did, and to have a lot of people coming in and out of the room. This, although it was rather very non-traditional for what I'm used to in most settings for psychiatric interventions. But Harold, I think got a lot out of it. Talked about it in the car, said he enjoyed it, and met some people.
Do you want to comment at all about what reputation Dr. DeSole has as a professional who is non-orthodox in the community, in the professional community?
Basically, the only contact that I've had with other professionals regarding Dr. DeSole and his work is within the current system of Sullivan County Department of Community Services.
And what's...
I think most people find him a very enthusiastic person, very high energy level, has a very sincere interest in the welfare of the clients. I think basically has allied himself successfully, and I think importantly, with the families of the clients. I think too often mental health providers exclude families.
Do you think that what he does can be learned by other therapists? Or is what he does non-transferable?
A good part of it is who he is. I don't think it's something that you can learn out of a textbook. You can't go to a seminar and learn the style of practicing psychiatry that Dr. DeSole exhibits. I think a good piece of it is just who he is as an individual. He brings himself to it. Okay. And I think that being a psychiatrist is an overlay to him, but I think the flavor, the temper of the man has nothing to do with traditional psychiatry training. Work. I think only someone else who had the same like mind or openness to working in very non-traditional, unorthodox ways could be successful. I think it's very difficult to say that you could turn out additional Dr. DeSoles on that.
Where's my exit? Looking for a way to die, so that it appears natural.
But at the same time, you're looking to see whether you could do anything about the Coumadin, which presumably
which they say one of the side effects is lethargy.
Well, that's what we're going to find
You're
out.
trying to see whether there's any alternative.
Yeah. Okay. Then this is an alternative. I didn't have this lethargy. Then it would be I'd be able to handle the dogs. Okay.
If you didn't have the lethargy, you could start working again.
Well, I could if I could walk the dog, walk the dogs, take care of the, do the cooking, go to shop. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing that. And but I still have the problem of getting a stroke. There's no way I can stop taking Coumadin. Otherwise, I would form a clot. Like right now, I'm talking to you, Phil. A piece of a clot breaks off and goes up into my brain. I end up like, and you go to the hospital. They take you there for a while, and then after you stabilize, meaning that you just end up like this probably couldn't do that anymore, Phil. Okay, and I'm gonna get up. I have to go urinate. I can't. I just stagger over, right? Then I'd have physical dependency would be obvious, and then even if I had that, people said, "Look at him, he needs help constantly, right? Was changing his diaper, or your bodily functions, when I have trouble with that now. I mean, I have no teeth. I can't chew anything, even though I got a full set waiting for me. When I went to the oral surgeon, I had to stop the Coumadin for a couple of days, and then I was at risk for developing the clot, and he pulled out some infected teeth, and I just so I'll gum all my food. I don't have any problem with that. But then, when it comes to being able to to go to the bathroom and have to wipe my rear end, that's I get this carpal tunnel thing. It's difficult. I can't feel anything in the thumb and these fingers on each side. Which you mean you say, well, I could deal with that. That's like an annoyance. Those like that I can deal with. And then what I can't deal with is I want to go to sleep. Right now, I'd say, let's stop. I want to go lay down. So I lay down, I get a couple hours of this sleep, and I feel good for when I get up for about maybe half an hour, be wakeful, then I want to go to sleep. And then I look forward to the evening when I go to sleep at night. And I do feel a little better in the evening. I don't know why. Maybe I've always been kind of a night person. And I do a little reading while I'm in bed. And because, just to be in bed and to be wakeful, what am I supposed to do? Just sit there and think? What do I think about? I think of all the different ways I can make my exit into the great unknown to be dead. They're contemplating how to commit suicide. It's not easy. There are all the different ways that could be available, but with my luck, I'd probably screw up. I mean, I tried taking those pills. It didn't work. I screwed up that attempt. Then I thought, well, try hanging. With me, the rope would probably break. And I just end up being paralyzed, or more physically infirm. I thought of jumping off the bridge at the Kingston-Rhinecliffe Bridge, the highest bridge over the Hudson. And you got to get onto the rail, my foot would get caught somehow. And I just end up hanging there, instead of going off. Carbon monoxide poisoning. I turn the car on in the garage. I'd be probably getting up carbon monoxide to be unconscious and then get brain damage and still be alive, and the car would stall out. I slashed my wrist in a bathtub filled with water. Probably what would happen is I'd probably somehow the drain would, I'd hit the drain or the drain wouldn't work and the water would drain out while I was just half dead. And just end up with brain damage that way. I guess the only other, so I got to find a very definite way. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to make sure that it's going to be a completed act. I don't end up just more crippled. I guess I'll have to call the Hemlock Society. They have a lot of them. They'll provide me with a number of options that I can't think about.
As I'm recording this, it's very confounding again, because here you're coming across as vital, interesting, alive, energetic, and it's a real cognitive dissonance for anyone who's watching this.
Yeah.
Because here you're talking about suicide, and you're so lively and so energetic.
This is just a small window during each day, maybe a couple of hours. But I'm still not, I'm still got this fogginess here in my head.
What makes this a rational decision?
Because I've tried everything to find out what I could take to help me with it.
Right.
And then there's no ruled out hypothyroidism, all the physical causes.
So it's a rational decision because you've done everything biophysically, physiologically to rule out.
Right.
To rule out the physiological causes, the biochemical causes for how you feel, which is full of lethargy, and when you do take a pill that's supposed to counteract it, you feel weird.
Weird.
So
it's a Provigil, and just maybe that's what I.
So this is a really a physician's approach to ruling out all the circumstances.
Yeah.
People keep saying you're depressed. Do you think you're depressed?
Well, you judge for yourself by reading this. Anybody who's looking at this. I mean, I don't have crying spells. I still have hope. I mean, I'm not depressed. I just, I asked you the other day, I said, what happens if all of a sudden you went totally blind? What would you do? I don't know. Maybe you would change your mind. Maybe blindness would, right now you'd say, pack it in, right?
Right.
But they're not going to pack in a blind person. No, they're not going to let you, you can't call Dr. Kevorkian. I don't think he would do it either. I remember Mildred. Oh, this gal, when she was a young girl, she was about 28, and about 5 years before that, she was a lesbian. And she went to the clinic down there in Middletown, and they tried to convert her. It's like being a lesbian, being a homosexual disease, and we're going to treat her, and because that was it. And she just, rather than accepting the fact that she was and trying to, no, they were going to, and she ended up eventually, she got Mellaril and different tranquilizers because she had a lot of anxiety as a result. Her parents were real just, redneck mentalities, like they were, their daughter was this terrible thing. And she ended up eventually, step by step, she ended up at the state hospital in Middletown, and she was in a state of, still nothing was resolved. Just they thought they could treat her complex situation there with Mellaril and stuff. And while she was in the hospital, she was home in the hospital, she was beating her eye, and she destroyed one eye by beating at it, right? And then she was there for a while after that because she was dangerous to herself, I guess. And they sent her home one weekend on a leave to their house. And it came time for her to go back to the hospital on a Sunday night. And she came down. The father was going to take her back. She comes down the stairs, and she had plucked out the other good eye. Imagine that, Phil? She plucked her own eye out, and she's totally blind now, right? And when she got out of the hospital, and she needed they referred her to the day treatment center. This person, they didn't want to have somebody like this there at the day treatment center who might, she would be, they're cherry picking at the time. And then the Commission for the Blind said, "What are you doing denying services to this girl?" Right? They contacted the administration. They called me up. They said, "You got to interview her so you can justify, because nobody examined her, right, to see if she was suitable." I mean, they were in trouble with this other, and so they scheduled the appointment for me to see her, Diane, and I'm on the way. I'm driving down there to meet her in the appointment. What do you think I'm thinking? What's the thing in my? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? I'm thinking I'm not going to be sitting. But make sure that when I talk to her, I want to stay away from arm's length. Because a person that desperate, I don't want her going after my eye. Right? And I guess, then I look up the literature on people that go blind because of this. And actually blindness, if they have any schizophrenia or something, they get improved. She's now at peace with herself. Wonderful person. Anyway, she came into the day treatment center, and I thought that, there were places to help her get into a place where they had people, where they would, institutions where they would no, the Person of the Blind says, no, people got to stay in their community because they got to learn eventually to live in their community. They got to be taught, how to get along. You don't send them away because that doesn't help. But yeah, so she came to the day treatment. And we used to have these group meetings again. I held them too. I used to serve a meal, then we'd sit and talk, and then we'd discuss different things. One day in group, she says, "Dr. DeSole," we were getting to this discussion of, she said, "Dr. DeSole, if you had been my doctor back then when I started, would I still have my eyes?" Yeah. I said, absolutely. No question about that. And I say that in all modesty, because I can only go like they go on a person's past record. But I've never had a suicide, and I've never had somebody that I've taken care of ever do harm to themselves in the way that you did. And so I just have to go by, all I'm doing is saying when I say, no, it's not arrogance, it's not, I'm the best. I have to go by the batting averages.
What happened to that woman?
She's come to the day treatment center, then she was there about, 3-4 months, and she said, so I'd like to talk to you privately if I could, And so I said, okay. So she's sitting over in the chair and talking, and she said, "Will I ever see again? My eyesight, is there any chance they could put me down to get my vision back?" And I said, "Diane, I'm not going to beat around the bush." I said, at the present state of our knowledge, unless something comes through, something might come through, but you're not going to get your eyesight back. At least is what they know today. I said, but I said, yeah, you don't have any eyesight. I said, but you got other feelings, man. You got you got taste, you got hearing, and you got feeling. And I took her hand and I said, look, I guess have you ever wondered you must have wondered what I look like. Yeah. I said, well, here, put your hand on my face. You know, she felt my nose and she drank. And one of the tear ducts in the one eye was still functioning, and as she did that, I could see tears came out of that one eye, and she smiled. And she felt my face. I said, you see, that's what it looked like. What do you think? Right? Let's see, I'm going to continue. All right. See, right now, I want to go to sleep. I'm not going to do it. Because I have to get this all down. Because I want to communicate my being, my thinking at this time in my life. And I guess I want people that are close to me, friends, relatives, Liz, I want them to understand where I'm at. I remember once Gregory Corso said, we were in a discussion on the way back from Jack Kerouac's funeral about having, you want to get understanding, achieve understanding with people, understanding. He said, well, that's love. You attempt to understand other people. Has something to do with this, like, is love.